Welcome, everybody. I am here with Marissa today, and we are going to talk about her experience selling on Amazon. Marissa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, there is a lot to tell, a lot to tell. Let me see this. I'm 55. This is probably my 10th career move, but we'll call it my second. I was in management for over 25 years. And as with everyone else, COVID really threw me for a loop. I was in restaurant management. And I didn't realize the sacrifice that I made, that my family made for me to have that career. I worked weekends, I worked nights, I worked holidays. My phone 24/7 was a direct line. There were no breaks. I got, 15 days off a year. And that was my life. And at that time, it was good to me. It put my kids through school, it supported our household. But the sacrifice that was made, that's one thing like COVID opened my eyes to, because I missed so much of my family's lives because of work, because I live to work as opposed to the other way. So now I'm a mother, a grandmother. I'm active in my family, and I have a lifestyle that I can afford and that I love. And
That's
that's
good.
me.
That's
Yeah.
really good. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about how you got your Amazon journey started?
Well, COVID was coming to the end. Everyone was going back to work, and I pulled back those rose-colored glasses, and I was like, is I had my first grandkid, and I was like, is this what I really want to do? I can imagine going back to work and working 70, 80 hours a week and missing all of the milestones in my granddaughter's life. So I started to see what other people were doing. And a friend of mine that used to be a coworker was selling on eBay and started in Amazon. And he was posting his stuff on Facebook. And at this point, he lived in Pennsylvania. I moved to Tennessee, and I was like, whoa, like, I know this guy. He's all about his money, and he's, doing this. So that's what opened my eyes to Amazon, because I had no clue how it worked. I thought Amazon had every single item that you see online in their warehouse, and they procured it and they sold it. And that was my knowledge on Amazon. So I just reached out to him, and I was like, what are you doing and how are you doing it? And that started me looking into it. And I'm like, are you sure this works? So I started going through the process, but very unsure. And he was like, I'm not great like showing anybody what to do, but I met this lady on TikTok. You were this lady, and I bought her class, and she showed me how to get started. And that was like, I don't know, 3 months before he started posting everything. And I'm like, well, who's this lady? And he's like, I don't know. She has a weird name. I'm going to have to look her up. And, because I don't go on there as much as now. And I was like, okay. He's like, but she'll get you started. She knows everything. And he sent me your link. And I consider myself blessed that you were the first person that I was introduced to, because now I see everything else that's out there. So that's how I got started.
That's awesome. I think that a lot of people out there would like to know, how much do you actually, not so much how much you invest now, but when you first got started and you started making those initial financial investments into inventory. I think a lot of people would be interested to know, what that looks like, if you could share that.
When I first started, I had put aside, I don't know if it was like 3,500 or $5,000. I said, this is what I am willing to lose without hurting myself, because I had this I don't want to say negative mindset, but an apprehensive one, because looking at, Mark's numbers that introduced me to it, I was just like, it's impossible. I don't know if that's possible. And I wasn't willing to lose money that, like, I didn't, not that anybody could afford to lose it, but that I would be comfortable with. But then it turned out that I never even used my own money because I just got 0% interest credit cards. And I, used other people's money to invest. And that was a $3,000 credit card, because I had no job. So I wasn't really getting approved for things. And my personal credit cards had interest rates on them. So I didn't want to, I wasn't using those. So I started with that credit card, and just built my business from there. So it was, I would say, 3,000
That's great.
on a credit card.
That's great. Well, it can be done anyway. So I'm glad you shared that with everybody. What do you think your main challenge were that you were able to overcome, working with me, working with my group? If you could share that.
So my initial challenge, I would say, was mental. Um, Believing in myself, first of all, that I can do this, and then also believing that it was possible, because that's the part that was like the biggest hurdle for me to jump through. Because, I've had commission jobs before, and, this is 100% commission. And now it's like, it was so difficult for me mentally to accept that I can take this chance on myself. I work 70 hours a week and I give 100% to a corporation. Why can't I do that for me? Why can't I invest myself in me and have that same belief? So once I changed my mindset and changed my perspective, then I changed my life, because I came from a positive path.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And
When
also joining your classes and you teaching me how to source, because I couldn't find anything.
you can find anything now.
I sat in a TJ Maxx for 6 hours scanning makeup. And like, what am I going to do with $2?
Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, I remember that. Can you describe the most exciting moments you had on Amazon? Maybe it's like a threshold, a peak period, maybe just anything that was exciting.
Um, I would say getting a check that was big enough not only to pay off my credit cards, but also pay my bills and have spending money, and, just have extra cash out of one check. And paying, because, when you're paying your credit card, the money I'm spending today is business that I'm going to be doing in a month or two. So you're like prepaying those sales, because mentally I hate to carry a balance, but I know that that money is for product I bought that I'm not going to sell for 6 to 8 weeks. And I don't even have to pay it for 30 days, but I have to prepay it. So just paying off my balances and opening up the possibilities was such an excitement. And I would say the best, like 3 weeks ago, I went to Florida to the beach for 3 days. And every day I was on that beach enjoying myself, I was hitting over $3,000 in sales doing absolutely nothing. And, the ROI on that was like $1,000 a day on those sales, because I had, I have my business working for me. And as opposed to me working for someone else's business, and being able to come back and not being under the gun, or, it's, it's just so uplifting. And it's just the freedom
Oh,
is the best part.
freedom is the best. Tell us a little bit about how much time you spend sourcing and balancing that out, with your grandbabies, your family.
Well, I'll be honest. I I spend a lot of time doing it because to me it's not work. I have a community that I work with, and if I'm not out shopping, they are. And they're like sending me stuff like, look what I found. And the next thing I know, I'm on my phone and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And, then I'm at the store. Or, I'm sitting watching TV and I'm prepping products, or, um, I'm just always doing something, but it's, I couldn't pinpoint hours. It seems, it's kind of my life, because all of, the community that you've built, and all my friends, we're just always sharing and bringing it together. But then, when I decide to fly to New York and go spend 2 weeks with my grandkids and turn it off, like, then I don't work for 2 weeks, which I could never do that before. And I do that all the time, which is the best, most exciting part.
Probably one of the things I talk about the most. I'm like, oh, fuck, Marissa's on another vacation. I'm like, oh my, she's gone again. And everybody knows it. I don't know that they know, but I talk to Marissa quite a bit, guys out there. So what happens is she's away, and I'm like, damn, she's hang on the ground. She's gone for a week again. You might be gone like a week, 2 weeks out of every month, and still have a business that's operating and prospering. So it's a really, really good thing.
At least a week a month. I get away, and through the FBA system, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then I write the trip off because I'll go shopping while I'm away. And send it to my house or my, storage, my box, and have it waiting for me when I get back. And now it's a work trip that I get to visit family for free
It's
as
amazing.
a write-off.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you can do it from anywhere.
You can do it anywhere. I already know this one. You can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
So, based on the information and everything that we've done together, where do you see yourself in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, oh, I hate these kinds of questions because it's always so crazy. I mean, my ultimate goal is securing a prep center that's not only reasonable and, great, but that I can send all my product to, so that I'm not doing anything. That's my on my top 5 priorities that I have going on right now, securing that. Like right now, I have 2 employees. They're not full time. They come in probably 10 hours a week. They get it done. They can, break down a pallet, prep it, label it, and, 4 hours. And it could be 3,000 units, and they get it done. But I still have to be there to supervise it, to, print it, to make sure everything's getting done. So I would love to be able to move that portion somewhere else and completely separate myself and free up my life even more.
Yeah.
There's a pool to go to. I'm sorry. But I'm this last chapter, that's not the last chapter of my life, but on this, you know, portion of the book I'm writing of my life, I want it to be filled with experiences, with things I did, not, stuff I missed.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what I'm working towards.
I love it. I think that's amazing. What do you think surprised you the most about this journey, or maybe you had a misconception about something?
Um, it's not easy.
Mm.
Uh, it's really difficult. You have to have a strong spirit and a strong community because there's so much misinformation out there. And, you know, uh, I always heard, oh, they take all your money. There's so many fees. There's this, but the truth is, in spite of that, nobody's going to give you their platform for free. Amazon has what, 100 million, 200 million buyers at any given moment. And, it's just maybe today's not your day, but that doesn't mean tomorrow won't be.
Mhm.
And, that it is a difficult business, but once you put the work in, it's so simple. And it's like, it's easy money,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I I can't say enough good things about it because I'm just living it. And I'm like, if you don't want to do it, great. Less competition for me. Give me those crappy products. I'll buy them off of you.
Oh, that's true. That's so true. Okay, so if anybody was on the fence, willing to, and they were trying to decide whether or not to get started, trying to decide whether or not to work with me, right, work with my team, what would you tell them?
I mean, the Discord that we have, there are so many people on there willing to help you, willing to walk you through it, willing to answer your questions. I mean, I popped on a call, you know, I'm not on a 9 to 5 clock. I sleep till 10 or 11 if I want to. I have no clock, alarm clock. Um, I'll be up late prepping, go on the Discord, jump into chats. Next thing you know, someone else is jumping in there and they have a question that's so pressing and they're like sitting there like, what do I do? And there's a whole community there like, oh, here, just get in front of your computer and they drop everything and just help you handle it. And when you have that, I mean, when I got section 3, oh my God, I was like, this is it. I'm going to lose my Amazon career. I called you and I was just like, this is it, Wensey. I'm not coming back from this. It's the stuff they're requesting is impossible. And you said, bitch, we're not going to talk like this. This is what you're going to do. And you held my hand through it, wiped those tears.
Mhm.
And a week later, I had my account back. My check was sent to me, and I was golden and started like I never stopped. But those things are so scary. And without other people who have gone through it, who have that experience and have that knowledge to help you through it, everything is just knocking you down. Because to us, it may be simple, but I remember being in that position and what do I do? How do I do it? There, a YouTube video can't show you because Amazon today isn't Amazon 5 years ago, 2 years ago, or even last year. All of their requirements are ever changing, and it's that's the scariest part is not knowing what to do and when to do it. Needing 300 units to ungate. Where am I going to get that from? How am I going to do this? Like it's it they don't want me to win. There's no way for me to get this done. And our community is just like, I got you. You know, checkmate. This is the way you do it. This is where you go to buy it. This is how you submit the invoice. Keep doing it. And it gives you that courage to keep going. And you know, because when you quit, you know, there's no winning from there. But when you have this community telling you, hey, I went through it and you know, 3 submissions later, I still, you know, now I have it. And it's like, oh, so it is possible. And our community turns that light on to show the possibilities of everything that is possible. And when you're doing shit wrong, it also tells you, cut that shit out. You're headed for deactivation. Don't do that. And you know, it keeps you on the path where you know you're going to be successful. And that's why like I continue. I've been doing this for only 2 years. And, you know, I'm matching what I made being in management for 25 freaking years. And I'm loving what I'm doing. I have a community. I travel with people in this community and they give me the strength to keep doing it and to, you know, just break those walls down and say, oh, thought you had me. Now we're going through it. So, you know, I think that's the best part about this community is that it doesn't matter if you started yesterday or if you've been doing it for 5 years, everyone pitches in and, you know, their experiences and their help and they take it on as though, you know, they're checked, you know, dependent on it.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't think there's any other community like that.
I appreciate that. I really do. Any final thoughts that you want to tell the viewers out there?
I mean, if you're on the fence about doing Amazon, that's one thing. Like that's a choice that you need to make. But if you're already in the Amazon space and you're looking to get a community, get like-minded individuals, be around a support system that doesn't exist in other places, you should have no question about joining the Discord. And, I tell you this all the time, like you give it away. Other places they want, hundreds of dollars for, just being a part of a community and thousands of dollars for, the simplest trainings. And we have 2 weekly calls where you're covering all of this stuff and it's included in that monthly thing. And I'm like, Wensey, you just throw it all out there.
I do.
You just give it away. And, that shows your caring and your character. And if it's not the space for you, then so it was 1 month, 30 days. But the only way this isn't going to be your space is if you don't participate, if you're not part of these calls, if you're not putting in the time to learn, because you're showing them how to source, where to buy it from, where to go to get these invoices, how to submit them, and it's easy peasy. Because when I and you've been doing this since I started, because I knew none of this. And I'm like, I live in a country, my neighbors are cows. I don't know how to, do this. And you're like, open up your computer.
From anywhere.
Exactly. You could do this from everywhere, anywhere. And I was just like, oh, okay. And, those calls are so important to, keeping you motivated, keeping you going. And, it's just part of the process. There's a schedule, there's a calendar. And if you don't make it and you're in a premium group, it's recorded. So it's like you can't lose. And, the ticket system is unbelievable. There's professionals in there, trained by you, that are there to answer those questions. And you say it's 9 to 5, but shit, something comes up and one of us sees it at 3 o'clock in the morning, bam, all the information is posted. So that when you wake up, it's like, oh, they got back to me. There's no wait until next week or next month, or you got to pay $500 for a phone call.
Right.
And, that's all stuff I've seen other, people offer in order to get a glimpse of what you give in that 30 days.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here today and sharing everything with us.
Well, I appreciate everything you do for this group. So, and well, for me personally, because, it's part of the group, but, I think it's all for me. I feel the love.
Okay, great. I'm glad you do. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.